Boom! Hello and welcome to the Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Byron Rodgers. This podcast is dedicated to the executive protection practitioner, the private security professional. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the mental, emotional, psychological, physiological fitness that goes into being an efficient and effective executive protection agent. Whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're a mom that's looking at how to protect her children, or a father that's focused on how to protect his family, I believe this podcast has something for all of you. We might even get into some tales from the crypts of true Hollywood stories from time to time. I'm doing this podcast because I feel the reality of this job is simple. If you really want to be good at executive protection, it's more than just a job. It really is a lifestyle. And those of you who've been in the game for any serious amount of time, you already know what I'm saying is true. So if that sounds interesting to you, enjoy the show. Out. Boom! What's going down? Hey, Executive Protection Lifestyle. This is Byron Rodgers and
Aaron Malden.
We're just coming to you to do a quick live kind of hangout, question and answer period. Maybe go over a little bit of content that we've just been playing with. I guess we'll start off with a little bit of a background. Myself, let's see here. I started off in the game 2008 when I first got out of the Marine Corps. 0351, anti-tank assaultman, all that fun jazz. Got onto a big international executive protection detail out of California. Jumped around to over 60 different countries over the course of about 7 or so years. Then I started working the Cali sector and just started running basically every client demographic the industry has to offer, in a circle basically, and kind of chasing the pager and working for a number of different companies. And now, I'm running my own firm, Bravoresearchgroup, and doing some other really cool things in the area. So that's really mostly my background. Aaron?
Likewise, I was a lean, mean shitbag Marine. I was a 0331, but I was a woodland camo Marine, so
okay.
That dates me a little bit pre-GWAT.
Yeah.
So coming in the industry, pretty much over the last 13 years since then, I've been conducting close protection, protective intelligence, surveillance detection, operations on an international level for Fortune 500 clients to A-list celebrities, ministries, sports team owners, entertainers, and even equestrian horses.
Equestrian horses?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's new. You have to think if I've done anything like that.
Yeah. But hey, me and Byron are always jiving back and forth, and obviously we're here like a lot of the other guys that have their pages to help better the industry, to dispel myths, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff that guys come out of school, which is your baseline skills. You need to know those skills, but when it comes, the client, the culture, the environment, it dictates your SOPs and including your budget and their thoughts on security, because people see stuff like, oh, that's not correct. Well, there's not always pursuing doom on your client lurking around the corner,
And situation dictates tactics 100%, and I guess that's kind of what we're always doing. We're managing the perception of the client, also the perception of the guys coming into the detail, along with, kind of what we believe will keep the client the safest. It's the way that we look to the client. It's the way we look to the public. What makes the public believe the client's safe? Does the public even know that we're there with a client? That's
going overt or covert.
Yeah,
there's those measures as well.
So I don't know. We got some folks hopping on here. You guys got any questions? Hey, what's up? Good to see you, Paul. Good afternoon, Justin. We got
James Fry. What's up?
What's up? There's some other dudes up here. Frey Dog, I think you're in here. Hey, Terry, it's always good to see you, man. If you guys have any questions while we're talking, fire them away, and we'll start kicking stuff down on it. But until then, I guess we'll just go over some of the content we have. Was there anything specific?
I want to start on being in this game for a long time. I don't want to talk on a negative content, but I think the best way for us to learn is if we fail or fuck up and we make sure it's never done again, right?
Right.
So what I want to talk about is positioning with the client.
Okay.
So that's a big thing where, the biggest thing that's going to get you in trouble coming on a new detail, especially if you're a primary AIC, is when you need to be there, when you don't, and how do you dictate your time and distance from the client. And the easiest way that I teach that is I have two terms when I'm with the client. It's the eyes inside out. So that's when you're pretty much in close proximity of the client. So you're looking from the inside of the security bubble out, right?
Right.
Then I have
it's one of the quickest ways to know who the new guys are, because the new guys will be the guys that are like all up on the client, like watching them and stuff, and you're like, yo, face that way. That's where anything's gonna come from, out there. You know, like know where the client is, but orient your weapons outboard. You know.
And the other term is eyes outside in. So the best way to dictate the position of your client, obviously it's threat level, environment that he's working in, but here with the United States, the best way I put it is if you have your kid and you guys are at Disneyland, it's at night, and everyone's leaving the park, there's more probabilities of something happening, him getting lost, you losing sight of him. So you're kind of up on top of them and on point, right? Looking where the path you need to go. Now, if you're with your kid at the park across the street from your house, there's no need to be on top of them. What are you going to be doing? You're going to be sitting on the park bench, you're going to be sitting across the street, and that's eyes outside in. So that's the best way to dictate, when and where you need to be around the client.
Yeah.
Well,
on that too, there's so much wisdom there, because one of the biggest mistakes I see with dudes when they come on a detail, they're like, there's something to be said for a transition from military protection to executive protection. You know what I'm saying? So like you get done and you're thinking it's so rigid and like, I got to know where you are at all times. You know what I mean?
Arms length away at all times.
Yeah, I have to be up on you at all times. But what I'm finding personally, and this is all just experience, theory, and experience that we have here, Bruce Lee, absorb what's useful, disregard what's useless, add what is essentially your own. We're not saying these things because we think we know everything. You know what I'm saying? We're just people that are willing to contribute and give you what we got. So, let situations dictate tactics. But one of the things that I see a lot of guys that could help a lot of guys is when they get on a client is knowing when to tighten it up, like you're talking about, and when to just give them space. If you have a good mastery of the environment, you can see the terrain, the threat level is relatively low, if ever there is such a thing, but you have a good mastery on the environment, give your client, and if your client doesn't mind it, obviously you have to feel that out, but giving them a little bit more space, letting them have their own having their own space is a great way to be there, help them feel protected, but not have them feel like your seatbelt is too tight. Like I think Master Joseph's talking about seatbelt security, right? If your seatbelt is too tight, they're not going to want to wear you. And some guys, I've seen that kill guys because they're right up on top of, clients like all the time when you don't actually have to be. You want to actually what I've found that works for me that clients like is I'm here, you live your life. I'm going to be as much out of your way as possible, and I'm going to try and assist you when I can as much as possible. And so, knowing when to be close and knowing when to be far away. If I'm in a crowd, if we're in a crowd and things are picking up and I've got a lot of unknowns around me, I'm going to tighten it up. And you're communicating with your client the whole time. They're going to look at you. You're going to feel that kind of, okay, now it's time for me to be that guy that's just happened to be around.
And you hit it. So a lot of you guys that have a lot of training, we train in human behavior, micro mannerisms. Mm-hmm. Use that
proxemics
on your client.
Yeah.
My client, or our client, he has telltale signs. We know when he's uncomfortable, when he's irritated, when he's ready to move. And the biggest thing too is what I call a hasty risk assessment, guys. So if we're going, a lot of people don't know who our client is. Mm-hmm. So
which is nice when that happens.
We're out and about. We don't need to be on. We're eyes outside in. We're giving him space, letting him do his things, and we have a big screenshot of who's where and who's doing what. So he's free to roam now. When we are in his environment and there's 120,000 people coming to see him and they want him, then we're basically, in the bubble. And if you went through study the Secret Service or State Department, they call it the centric rings of security. With an EP, I want to change that. I call it the onion layer.
The onion layers.
So just because when you cut open an onion, there's just layer upon layer upon layer upon layer.
I'm digging it.
So when we talk about it, we have to have physical, electronics, and
information,
and human means to do this. No, I just have to know that there's a layer. If my client's in a room, that door's a layer. That next door to come out of that door is a layer. I'm outside that door, there's another layer. Then I have Byron out there chilling, watching the walkway, that's another layer. So don't think of just rings. Now, there's a caveat to that though. When you think of rings, you can think of venues, right? So if we're at a stadium, the first inner ring is going to be the stage. The second is going to be the outside field that we have to move to get to the catacombs, get underneath. Then the third ring will be in those in the event area. So break it down. It's you can think outside the box, and the best way to do it is just kind of what we're here to do is try to relay the information for you to retain it, and not just be like cookie cutter, like that's just what you got to do. No, this is reality, guys, and it's just, if there's not pursuing doom on your client, you don't need to hug their space.
Right, and also dealing, and what I try to deal with is like principles, like where we're giving you a kind of principles and ways of looking at something that can address a larger spectrum of situations. You know what I mean? Like if you're thinking about rings, that fits the green room scenario, that fits the stage scenario, that fits even vehicular movements and things like that. That's kind of a principle. It's a way of thinking.
Baseline. Everyone has to have a baseline understanding, and you build from there.
Build on that. No, that's what's up. That's good stuff. That proxemic stuff is real. That's one way I see a lot of guys trip on themselves, is they're just up on, the client. The client's like, all right, dude, this dude is too much. You know what I mean? Because it's like dating at first. You know what I mean? It's like dating. I'll be the first to admit it. New client, you're a little bit nervous every single time you get in the car. You guys got to figure out your rhythm. You got to figure out, you're like, okay, like, you want me to get doors? You want me to not get doors? You want me to, do we get doors or do we not get doors? That's another, EP thing, do I help you with this bag? Do I not help you with this bag? How do you want me to do this? And how close do you want me? When do you want me close? There's a lot to be said for not paying attention and making it obvious that you're not paying attention to certain conversations that your clients are having. So you're kind of getting this whole social flow situated with this person, and it's natural to be a little nervous. But one thing that can help you a lot is the proxemics and feeling like when you need to be close and when you don't need to be close. And it's another way that your client will be able to see that you know what you're doing. If your client gets uncomfortable with a situation and you're already right there, boom, you just score 2 points. You know what I'm saying? If they're like, hey, I'm just with my friends right now, and you're like at the back of the room just on Overwatch, they're like, all right, this dude's cool. He can hang with me.
And a good way to put that is when you're setting up a new detail and they haven't had security before, and you're not going to have direct communication with the client, which I had a very, very wealthy client from overseas come in, and I maybe said 6 words to him in 6 months, but my pure communication was with his personal assistant. She was my best friend. Hey, what is his do's? What is his don'ts? How do we prep the room? How do we sweep the room after he leaves to make sure he didn't leave anything? I've had clients leave their wedding rings in hotels' bathrooms, and we're I have the luggage guy go do a last sweep and find his ring or his charger. But with a good detail lead like we have here on the team that we have, he's big on do's, don'ts, etiquettes, and there to inform guys. And then he slowly gets his face every day on this detail in front of the client, so the client sees him. He's a little bit familiar. So if we do have to do a quick change, flip and flow, and he's in front of the client, he knows the etiquette, he knows the procedure. So, and we were talking about this yesterday, be a leader, guys. Be the leader that you'd want to be led by. Don't be a manager. Don't be a boss. Because in this industry, if we don't bring the guys up, we can't go anywhere. We can't be, we can't move up in position, and that's a big thing. Because a lot of times you can't be the tip of the spear all the time, man.
Yeah, dude. And learn how to lead from the front, yo. Like 2 things. 1, use your assets. The second you get into a new detail or anything, look around at the people who've been there, that survived, that understand the terrain, that understand where all the tripwires are, and start getting information from them. Don't be the cool security dude who's like the ultra mega, like, I'm too good to hang out with the house staff. Learn from the house mics, learn from the secretary, learn from the bookkeeper, and understand the social environment you're in, because that's the number 1 threat that's going to get you kicked off the details of social environment, in my opinion. So be a team player with every faction of that detail, and build all those people into your security strategy, because they're components to the everyday workings of what you're trying to do there. And then the second thing was, oh man, I was right on what you were talking about. I think I forgot it, bro.
But no, the motion.
That's it. I got it. Lead from the front, yo. So you may not be the detail leader, but I think one of the things, the best teams we've worked on, is everybody's giving everybody information all the time. I think there's almost nothing more frustrating than an information bottleneck in a detail, bro. And straight up, like when you may be the pawn, you may be the halls and walls guy. Pass info up. Let your guys that are at the top know what you're seeing. Just be making plays and continually staying in that OODA loop of the detail and pass information. Be the best follower who is leading the people who are at the top of the detail by giving them information and looking out for them as possible. And that's how you move up, because that's how you gain trust. Because then your leaders are like, yo, I can trust this cat. He's paying attention.
Yeah.
He's giving me info. He heard the secretaries talking about what time we might go green light. He just passed me that info. Like, that is gold on the detail, because a lot of times you won't have straight communication with the clients.
No, I want to touch on the communication piece too, but like real quick, what we're here doing or what we're saying is not going to be any operational OPSEC violations or whatever, but the venue we're working at here, the magnitude, which we talked about before, we have a great close protection team. We have other elements. We have access control, statics. Now this is a big thing, guys. So when our team's all set up and the client's in the green room, they're like, man, hey, we made good time. We got 45 minutes to kill, so
curveball.
Well, there's that. So being a leader, I'm like, all right, hey, it's downtime. Hey, you three, stay here. You three, go get chow right now, right? Yeah. So you'll get the chow. And then I'm like, hey, did we, is the vehicles prepped for departure? Because a lot of times we'll do that the last hour. Like, I don't want to get in that, sorry. But when these guys, or if we have downtime, is it cool to sit outside the green room in another area where it's AC and snack and all this stuff? No. Where I go out and I'm doing my routine patrols. I'm going out and I'll hit the outside, see if there's protesters, collect protective intelligence if the static units haven't done. Then once I go from the outside, I go to the inside. Then I go up to the command post and I go see James up there, man. I'm like, hey, what do you got? Yeah, what do you got? What's going on? And then we'll start game planning our scenarios. Like, hey, if something did happen at this instant, how could I command you to shut lights, turn lights off, to direct, cut to commercial, whatever, so we can handle that emergency procedure and 2 million people are not watching it live streaming on the internet. And that's part of ours, is protecting the brand of the client.
Brand is big, man. Protecting the brand, that's huge, man. Because just like you guys know, like, damage to the brand and the integrity of the brand is just almost as bad as having something happen to the detail. But on what you were saying about resurrecting dead time, I like to call it, like, we learned it in the Marine Corps, because they're like, you got downtime, and you like start to chill out, and they're like, you better be working on your gear, and you're like tightening up your gear and you're doing all this stuff. But one of the reasons I think that we've been able to be really successful and deal with a lot of curveballs real well on various details is because that downtime, like, I'm digging in. Like, I get downtime, I'm talking to local assets, I'm understanding who's around, I'm getting a good breast of the situation. I'm in the OODA loop of the detail the entire time. Like, I'm like, all right, so he's going to want to go left or he's going to want to go right. We're going to do this. And I'm like in my head going through this stuff. So there's like software in my mind written already for everything we're going to do, which makes it so I can do it with confidence. So when my client's on my six, or when I'm walking my client, however I'm doing it, like, you being able to execute movements with that confidence. And for me personally, because some guys are just like on the fly guys, but for me, like, I'm going over everything in my head. So I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, boom, always. So I know like 2 to 3 moves ahead what I'm going to be doing, where things are going, what kind of curveballs I'm looking at, and really just mapping everything out in my head when I have that downtime. So that way, no matter what the next move is, I'm dialed in and I'm ready to rock. That's like huge for me with dead time.
Yeah, that's why I got bags under my eyes, because it's like mentally straining, because you're process. Like, I call it a
grind. You got to turn it into a flow, man.
Yeah, like in CQB, man, we call it greedy eyes, right?
Greedy eyes. Yes,
I love
that.
You're getting in the room, you're scanning, you're processing as much as information, right?
Yeah.
When you pass through that threshold, how much information can you process and
effectively deal with?
Yeah.
Like, make wise decisions with, make good tactical decisions with, and a lot of what we do is like mad fluid, what I mean? So like, just, you have your plans, but the fluidity of the situation when you're dealing with humans and what they want and need, and that one place we went last Thursday, can you take me there right now? You know what I mean? Like that's the game. And I think that's a lot of what separates good guys from bad guys, and being able to deal with that while maintaining like a calm professionalism. I've seen some guys get flustered and stressed out, and like,
you can't show emotion on people. It's like, that's a big thing, because your energy reflects to the client. Because if you're all amped up, the client's like, what's wrong with this guy? It's like,
is he able to do his job, or is there something I missed? Am I not paying him enough?
With that being said, too, guys, is that on this particular detail, which I love working on, is we have our client, right? And our client then has the family, or what I call HPPs, like high priority personnel, right? Then outside that, you have VIPs. So there's 2 or 3 other details that are intermixing with yours, even though they're part of the family. They may be part of the company or the establishment. Then you have VIPs that are coming to see your client, and they have their security. So as me being the lead advance, I'm blessed to be able to advance major sports stadiums on a nuclear scale, and then not only make sure my guys are dialed in and wired tight. Then next thing you know, I'll get a phone call and say, hey, there's a Secret Service guy here, and so-and-so's come in, and what information you got. And so now I got to pass off. And this is unique, and this is what I like about our Lima, our leader, is when I'm doing advance, I get 2 additional or even 3 additional personnel on site, so I can hand duties off or pitch them to go help facilitate the arrivals of our VIPs. And all that does is make us look better from the client's view, the company's view, and our guest view. They're like, wow, they showed up, their security team had us got in, they whisked us in straight to the green room, they had our VIP stuff set up. So, our responsibility as a client, going back to the branding and the organization.
Yeah, I was just about to bring it back there.
But and this is the soft skill stuff that we're talking about, guys. We can sit here and talk about tactics.
And I love tactics. You see on my Instagram and Facebook, I'm all doing it all, but the soft skills, there's so much to be said for them. And
downtown leads to shenanigans. I like that.
Yeah. No, but and then with the brand thing, man, just to park on that for a minute. One thing I want guys to recognize is you represent your personal brand as an executive protection agent everywhere you go. Everything you do, it's going to follow you around. It's a small industry. It's 1% of the security industry. And when you get to a certain level of success, everybody knows everybody. You know what I'm saying? So you've really got to be paying attention to that with every decision you make. One of the things that I see, and I just blogged about through this down on my website, one of the things that I see lets guys last longest is having good character. It's the good dude, man. He's a good dude. When someone looks at you like, that's a good dude, you're like, okay, that's a good dude. Cool. It blasts everything else. The second thing is, I don't care where you came from. If it's a good dude, I'll work with him. You know what I'm saying? If a good dude tells me he's a good dude. But, that's
the background.
That's watering it down, but you get it. You know what I mean?
Guys there's 2 guys that I worked with were some of the best guys I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
No military, no law enforcement. They have the drive, and they went to schools, and they had to work harder than everyone else
to get there.
So
what they had was
they're valuable. Because guys are like, oh, I got background, that's why I'm here. Well, this guy's like, I just slugged it out for 10 years.
Yeah, I have to prove myself every time. Because you're going to ask me what my background is, and I'm going to have to tell you not law enforcement or military. So now I got to come out into this detail and earn it every single time.
So here's the story. So when I first came on to support you guys, so I support them on the lead advance for when we travel and do venues. So I'm not full-time with them. Obviously, I'm with AS Solution, as their executive protection operation and training manager, but I come out to support and to stay fresh, to see what's going on, what's new.
Man.
And I think it was 3 or 4 years, or 4 or 5 years ago when I first came on, I got attached. This guy Tom came on, and
I see that question, Jenny. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So and that's actually a good question.
Yeah, it is.
So long story short, we'll keep some. Get to Jenny's question is, I got attached to this guy. He came on, and it was the first time or the second time I was actually doing a NFL stadium advance. So I was like, all right, man, I got to get on. So the guy comes, and everyone's greeting. And at that time, I'm like, hey, dude, all egos aside, I don't care where you come from, what your background is.
Yeah.
We have an hour to get this done and get it on report, get it out, and get the rifle. So let's rock and roll. So worked with him for 3 or 4 days. Came in, and then when I left, I'm like, wow, those guys are really squared away. And they're like, yeah, he's a lieutenant with such and such PD, and he's a lieutenant colonel of the Marine Corps.
I was talking about,
dude, I was like,
squared away, bro. The double sir, we call him.
The double sir. So
I was
like, I should have been going to him,
snap pop with this dude.
And so I felt he was on it. But think about it, he's a lieutenant colonel. He's a lieutenant on a
local police department,
and I'm sitting there. He's like, "Hey, what do you need? Why are we doing this?" I'm like, "X, Y, and Z." He's like, "Oh, okay, that's great." And he's always asking questions, and I was like, so now I'm like, I need to find out a little bit more about people to get a similar background because that, to me,
it's a pertinent question,
and it was level of respect for me. Level of respect for him, and not I think it's a pertinent question, but I think a lot of guys hold too much stake on it, and I'll also say the guys that hold the most stake on it are doing the least now, or the guys that aren't able to live as well in the moment because their identity was in the past, really. Those are the glory days. But real quick, before we get that question. So Jenny's question.
Yeah, Jenny's question. But to finish what I was saying about branding, the last thing I'll say about it is you represent your personal brand, you represent the brand of the company you work with and work for, and you also represent your client's brand. You got three jerseys you're wearing every single decision you make out there in the field. So managing perception and branding is big. Now, I saw Jenny, and it looks like Ernest hollered back and put some content on that. But Jenny was asking how frequently we work with females in the EP game. You want to start that off?
Yeah. So extremely valuable asset on many levels. With AS, so Jenny, if you are looking, we are looking to hire female agents.
I'm just saying.
So PM me. We'll probably go to my other box, but we can contact. But there's details right now that are all women. They're great working with families, but also too on big corporate advances. Women tend to be able to have a better power of persuasion. On advanced work, getting through venues. So if I don't want to drop names, but there's 2 girls within our corporate company, AS Solution, that are lead advances, and they're money because of that fact. Women are great to work with. I just feel bad because I think a lot of women have to deal with a lot of unprofessional guys in the industry. So from a surveillance, counter surveillance, protector role, from advance and for multitasking, complete valuable asset. And I'm going to mentor one over the next 2 days to get them in the drive of things. But 100% valuable. You guys are gold. You're unicorns. You're few and far between. And if you're looking for employment, like I said, reach out and I'll get your resume to HR to have them look it over.
Yep. And the only thing I'll say, he basically said all of it, is when they're dialed in, they're on point. There's nothing worse than watching someone who's an underdog in a scenario not be able to deliver. So that's what you want to see, because I'm be that bad guy, but it's almost like a man's world. Protection's been something that men have really dominated. Even for a dude who's not a law enforcement or military background, he's struggling. You know what I'm saying? To get into this little niche of security, this 1%. And so with that, you have also a female coming in. Okay, cool. Make sure you are wired tight. Like my grandparents used to tell me, growing up black, you're going to have to be twice as good as everybody else to get half the credit. True or not, that's how I grew up, and it got me here. Good to go? So I would say to women, go into this game with that mindset and that idea. You know what? I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to be twice as good because, there are realities out there that are like, how is this person going to protect this other person when I'm bigger and stronger physically, or things like this, you know what I mean? Whether they're accurate or not, this is all to be obviously talked about. But the reality is you're kind of an underdog in the industry, if I can just speak plainly. That's my opinion. So bring your A game. Bring your A game. That's my advice. Bring your A game.
Well, and also, too, what I tell everyone in the industry, if they're like, well, my resume, I have all this, that, so let's take five people that have, sorry, the noise, the same 5 backgrounds, same military. What are you going to contribute to that family, that corporation that is outside everyone else? So where I've seen females really succeed is on the medical side. Yeah. They're EMT, they're paramedics. So now it's just valuable skill set, and we need it. And especially for family and travel too, because you got executives. We have female executives, and there's places and things that females are easily deal and handle
deal with better,
than a guy.
It's big. So that's a good question. I wonder if we have any other questions that are rolling around in here. Untitled.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's something I want to touch on too, guys. Is when we go to schools or do scenarios, I break it down to the micro and the macro.
Micro and macro.
So when they're like, hey, attack on principal, what do? Oh, we cover, evacuate. Okay, that's the macro plan. Let's talk about the micro, those steps. If your client's on stage speaking in a hall, passes out, explosion, something happens, when we got to move that client, where are we moving them to? What are potential hazards going downstairs, upstairs, right? How are we going to move the client from there if there is a medical emergency, for instance, and it's in a public realm? What precautions do we have in the micro to create a barrier wall so pictures are not being taken, it's not being filmed, we can confidently work on him, communicate, get EMTs in or move? Those are the micro details that you really gotta take in consideration. And one's like, hey, we'll just cover and evacuate. Well, you're gonna cover and evacuate at night down 3 flights of stairs to get to the vehicle to get them out. What are our procedures to do it safely and securely? And so if the AIC is moving, one guy pushes out and stays ahead. Like, these are the things that we're always problem solving and thinking about.
That's the stuff you have to be sitting there thinking about before it happens all the time. And I mean, just a small thing on that too is like, this is kind of why I say it's not like just a job, dude. It's a lifestyle. Like, they're like, oh, I got out of the Marine Corps, and they're like, oh, you get, like, I didn't get diagnosed with PTSD, but I am hypervigilant. I'm always paying attention. And that was one of the things that I was kind of like, this is awesome, because I'm always kind of staying in that OODA loop. This is the plan. I'm at a place with my wife. I'm like, that's our hard room. Anything happens, go in there. I'll figure out what's going on. I'm going to sit over here. You know what I mean? And like, thinking that way and taking that paradigm with you in your everyday life is the best way to get good at it, so that it's second nature, so that you walk into a venue, you're moving with your client, and you're in that OODA loop of the detail, constantly thinking about what are those macro concerns. Yeah, this is our large movement, but what are all the little things we got to get done right? Hey, in order to pull that off effectively without Murphy jumping all up in our cereal and ruining everything, because Murphy's real.
Yeah, and like right now, let's say we do have an emergency and it calls for evacuation. We're moving the client where we've mapped it out, getting them down the stairs, getting them across an open space to the vehicles, but then we're shorthanded, so we don't have a guy designated in the vehicles, so the vehicles are in a controlled space.
Right.
So now we got a radio, and that the keymaster has to get to the vehicles prior to us and prep those vehicles, get the gates open, and basically start mapping out when they say, okay, hey, we're going to evacuate them. Well, where are you going to go? Oh, well, wherever we're going, are those addresses preset in the GPS of the car? So it doesn't matter if for some reason I get in the car or Byron gets in the car, we have dedicated spots to get off property going, hey, it's too far to go home, there's a relative house close by. We can stage them up in the hotel across the street, because it has means. These are all those micro plannings that within time you can get from the client, because the client going, hey, if this happens, we're going to move off site temporarily till the rest of the family or other VIPs or HPPs, high priority personnel, get off. We get back in and we punch out. I forgot, he had a good question. So hey, about not having law enforcement or military background, to me it's irrelevant. How do you build experience? Yeah. And we were just talking about this, guys. So when I got out of the Marine Corps and then I went to ESI, the 30-day PSD package, I was ready to go. I sent out. There was no social media back then, guys.
Yeah,
there was MySpace.
This is like good old boys times.
Yeah. So at times we had to pick up the phone, call, ask someone out for coffee.
Know somebody.
So I applied for like 89 jobs.
This dude wanted it bad.
Nothing. Right? So and then I got a hit on, the ESI network. It was like a Yahoo chat thing we got going. Okay. The guys were like, hey, you're almost there. You just don't have an experience. I'm like, well, I did this and this. So the best way to build experience, guys, go to every security company in your town. Doesn't matter if it's
gold, son.
G4S, SOS, whoever's there, get your resume. Pinkerton.
Do your dirt time, bro.
And I'll get a one-day call. Hey, we got a Rolex dealer coming in to McCarran Airport. You need to do an arm transport and take them around. Here's a car. Boom. So now I'm like...
And you've been our solid dude who's done all our dog crap details, so we know we can count on you. You know what I'm saying? You got struggle credentials, you know what I mean? You got the stripes, yeah.
Yeah, or, stand in front of, doing...
protecting the cigarette girls. You know what I mean? You don't want to, but you got to do it.
But it's standing in a suit. One was doing static armed security at a high-profile funeral in Vegas when it was 120 degrees, and I'm out there just melting. But hey, you got to get your stripes. You got to dig. You got to eat it, man, to get up there. But best thing about that is it diversifies you. But guys are like, oh, well, I only worked 2 days. Put it on your resume. You worked robbery suppression for a Fortune 500 company.
Big events, festivals, like all of it.
Nothing is below you guys.
Yeah, that's the thing you have to realize, bro.
Dig in this industry,
it's
and even if it's armed, unarmed, whatever, just
you get on it,
and that's how you network.
Make that money.
You meet good guys.
Literally, this is how at least I built mine. How I've seen a lot of guys do it is you get on all those details. You render, and this I was going to talk about how to stand out. You get on all those details. You render a high quality of service, no matter whether you guys are guarding dead chickens or something. Whatever it is, bro. There's some crappy ones out there, and you do a good job, and you work with those dudes, and you go over and above, not just for the employer, but for the teammates. You cover your teammates, and you render a higher level of service. And then you know what happens? Your phone rings, and then Jeff from the detail last week, when you guys were like in some horrible situations, like, yo, I got this thing, I got this da-da-da-da-da's coming in town, I need some good dudes, you help me down here. And every single time you go to a course, every single time you're on a detail with somebody, what happens? You are marketing yourself to the industry, because those guys are all going in different places, in different directions, and they are carrying that experience with you, and they'll be the guys that call you back and like, yo, I got this other thing. And then next thing you know, your reach and reputation is starting to make a place for you in the industry. That is the quickest way to carve out a whole.
And Byron put it best. Social intelligence is going to be your biggest asset to build in this industry. The client doesn't care how big of a ninja you are, how good you can drive your
sub-second draw.
It's just basically how you conduct yourself in that environment.
Brand.
And here's 3 tips I'm going to give you guys. I'm actually going to do this for AS Solution, because we're on a big hiring push right now. Is one, LinkedIn page. 100% important, guys.
Get it right.
Even if you don't work for us, you work for someone else. You say you work for a company out of Texas, you may be subcontracted out by one of our clients, and guess what? Every director does. Hey, who are my drivers for this detail? Who are supporting this? He gets on LinkedIn. He does one. Do you have a LinkedIn page? 2, he's going to look at your experience, and on top of that, who's endorsed you. So it may not necessarily be hard skills. It may, hey, I took a public speaking. I'm at the local Toastmasters course. So
hey, that's some gold, bro. I dig my Toastmasters.
Yeah, so learning how to speak. Then 3, your picture, dude. Your picture. I'm getting raw here.
You've seen some good guys burn.
So your picture on LinkedIn, when we say a professional headshot, just with a clear background and smile, so we don't think you're a sideboard from the planet Alderaan, right?
Ultra tough guy.
You have a personality, like, hey, you're smiling. Also, too, like in this, dude, we all love the gun gear PSD pick. If you work and live in that non-permissive or high threat environment, that's your deal. But breaking in to corporate EP, close protection, which are 2 different things.
Yeah.
Executive protection is one thing. Corporate protection is another. Diplomatic is a whole nother realm, guys. There's layers. So. And third,
and then into entertainment, that's another layer where it gets sideways too, bro.
But third is when you send me a resume and it says more hand-to-hand combat Iraqi veteran at ernestborgnine.org.gmail.com, trim it down, guys. Keep it professional. Try to keep it a name, because those are little minute things where it's just like, oh, this dude's big on hard skills, which I like, but
does he have the social intelligence to survive and not scar our brand? Yeah. I was literally sitting next to a dude on a job interview one time, and it was me and this dude going head up. Client was like, both of y'all come meet me for lunch, bring your wives. And like, yo, for real. So I'm sitting here, me and my wife, I'm like, don't mess this up, babe. I'm sitting here in this interview, and I'm sitting there, this other dude, he's bigger than me, he's jackeder than me or whatever. And dude So this gets into social dynamics. This gets into etiquette. I'm sitting here. I'm working the table. I'm working my forks outside in, doing the whole deal. Manners, everything. Watching, scanning, paying attention.
Dinner etiquette is a big thing. You can watch it online, dude. That's big.
This is. I'm writing a book, Social Dynamics of Executive Protection. Stand by. You know what I'm saying? And also podcast coming up, Executive Protection Lifestyle. It's gonna be all about this stuff. But sitting here at this table, man, and we're being interviewed. He's asking us questions. He's watching us, watching the way we interact with our wives, the whole nine. And he offers this other gentleman salad, and the other gentleman looks at him and he's like, "I don't eat rabbit food." And I was like, "Thank you." I was just like, and that was it.
And that's
all it took.
And you know why you eat rabbit food when you're with a client? If for that one reason,
drop it. Just let them know, man.
Hey, whatever's the cleanest, leanest, and non-messiest thing. So big detail. I had a bunch of highly experienced special operation guys that was mandatory for the client. I came and ran it. These guys came in. The client who, can beyond wealth.
Yeah.
Out of the blue, just tells everyone to sit down and join everyone for dinner. And these guys were panicking. So we're at a Bouchon, a 7-course meal French.
Game on.
So it's just like
your etiquette.
Don't order spaghetti.
Don't be that
Don't
guy.
order a hamburger. Order a salad, something that you can nibble and be clean.
And
so
you're
you're
at
not
the king's table, yo.
Yeah,
if
so-
the king's doing salad, have a salad, bro. You know what I'm saying? You
100%.
like salad right now, bro.
And don't get your little booger hooks in the bread and start digging around,
Yeah,
and
man.
next up. So dinner etiquette, that can be done. You can watch all that stuff on YouTube,
Yeah.
but these are key and crucial things, guys, that we talk about, because the guys that raise up are the ones that have emotional intelligence, they have the personalities, and this is my trademark. So don't.
Yeah.
So it's when to be the butler and when to be the bartender.
Yeah, no.
When to give silent service that's not recognized and you execute it and put back, or when it's a bartender where you're multitasking, you're making a drink and solving the problem, right? So like, bartender, so
You're driving home and he's like, "Yo, can you take me to that one place we went on last Thursday with the orange curtains?" And you're like, "Yeah, I got you."
And this is a big thing, guys.
Yeah.
So new CEOs and clients these days, they have empathy and they're a higher level of leading with emotional intelligence. So when you get in the car and the client goes, "Hey Byron, how was your day?" Or "Hey Aaron, how was your weekend?"
Yeah.
You just go, "It was great, thank you for asking."
Yeah.
Open it and close it. Don't go, "Well, I got the pool in, the wife's blah blah." No,
Oh,
man.
you're killing yourself. You're killing yourself.
They're just there to just let you know that they're acknowledging your presence. You're there.
Respectful.
So open up and shut it up, guys. That's a big thing. Talking too much will, like we're doing it now.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we'll wrap it up here in like 5 more minutes or something.
but hey Ashlyn, see you chimed in. Good to see you. Please reach out. I need to follow up with some stuff on you. So hey guys, overnight success takes about 10 years. So grind, dig it out. Your failures, or I don't say you cannot fail in this industry.
Sometimes
you can't.
you win, sometimes you learn.
It's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
100%. Learn from them, correct it, and keep your hard skills sharp.
Yeah.
But continue to polish and evolve your soft skills, communication, etiquette. Go to a Toastmaster.
Yeah.
Take a public speaking, LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah.
They have classes on how to converse with an executive.
Awesome.
And it changed mine with my boss, because he would say, "Do this program," and I'd dish out this big the how, the why, and how we're going to do it.
And you'd be all
he wouldn't read it.
technical, and he'd
I would
like,
just say,
"Not doing it."
"What is the budget? What is my timeline?"
Yeah.
I will get it done, and then he's like,
This dude's cool.
He comes back right then.
Yeah.
So, hey, bro,
yeah.
we're live here. What are you doing?
I'm doing work.
Right.
So, all right, hey guys, we'll just close it out.
But yeah, man. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna scroll back through here and check out the questions, and if there's anything we missed, circle back around and bang out some content. Until next time, yo, this is Byron Rodgers with Executive Protection Lifestyle and Bravo Research Group, and we'll see y'all on the next video.
Take care, guys.
Boom. And to support this podcast, go to executiveprotectionlifestyle.com and contribute to our Patreon account. That Patreon account is what helps me make this podcast possible, contributing to this brand, what we're doing here, making it so that I can bring better guests on, making it so that we can plan more events and just expand the contribution to the private security industry, and also to making America a safer place by teaching people how to protect themselves and the mindset behind that, the lifestyle behind that. You guys are already killing it. $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can do that you know you would probably just lose in the mattress anyway or spend on McDonald's. Hey, you want to put it towards something that's going to good use, put it towards a podcast, and get involved in our Patreon account at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. And if you want to find me, that's byronrogersmotivation.com. Do whatever you can, contribute whatever you can to that Patreon account, because it makes all of these things possible, ladies and gentlemen. So much love. Thank you, and thank you for making those contributions. You guys rock. We're already doing amazing there, and it's just because of you guys. So thanks once again for those contributions. Boom, and no podcast would be complete without a word to my sponsors, the companies that believe in me and that give us the opportunity to get cool stuff at a discount. So Rogue American Apparel, awesome American clothing. Check them out. The second you see their gear, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sidekick mounts, all the cool videos you see me making with first-person shooter stuff, videos with cameras mounted on my weapon and all this other fun trash. Check them out. Primary weapon systems, simply the best rifles that are being made right now. It really is the evolution of it's the evolution of guns and the evolution of rifles. Check them out. They make the best rifles, hands down, because of their piston system. There's a science behind it. Check them out. Gray Man Suit Company, all the different, we've all had the idea of like, man, why does executive protection, why are we doing these suits? We can't move, it's hot, it's terrible. They make suits for what we do, with the stretch where you need it, with the reinforcement in the suits where you need it, where the pockets in the suits where you need it. Duke Defense, all the different accessories that you need to make your rifle manipulations and everything, and also your pistol stuff faster. Duke Defense, check them out. All these companies have given me a code. Use my name, Byron, B-Y-R-O-N, for 10% off. Byron, B-Y-R-O-N, at checkout, online, on their websites, for 10% off. Boom, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast. This whole entire thing actually just started off as a Facebook group that blew up and is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, executive protection Facebook group online. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram and check us out at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. If you want to find me, that's byronrogersmotivation.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. So until the next podcast, y'all, stay sharp out there, and as I say it, one mind, many weapons. Talk soon. Out.